Hello, hello guys. Dude, what's wrong with the order? Isn't it supposed to be alphabetical? Why is Bacchus number one? What? Okay. If we're in the low elos, they want to ban Ama. Tragic. I don't want to ban it, but
Select your god.
I'll start with something easy. And I mean, into Hades, I do need something that has a chance. Hello, Horik. My hands. It's so cold. I've definitely been heavily baby gamed. These people want to ban bots and Sol. So I think I will just not say anything. Otherwise, I'm gonna start arguing with them. Because they don't know.
Shock!
Stole the game. Yeah, that's good, man. Good on you for making the big decision. Hope the enemies have equal babies. I hope so too. Horik is weak, unfortunate. Uh, I mean, I do think if you are someone who is somewhat easily annoyed, I think MOBAs are a bad game for you. That's pretty much all I'll really say. I think you can spend your time better than getting annoyed. Gaming should ultimately be fun in the end. I mean, I do get frustrated too as well at times, but for the most part, like, I would say like at least 80% of my time playing Smite, I do enjoy it. Yeah, I do think the current Smite ranked situation is definitely something where you need some strong mental. Or you just don't need, like, you just either don't have to care, or you don't want to care, shouldn't care, or you need a strong mental to resist it. Resist the urge of rage. Jesus, man. I'm not I don't like summer, but playing games with cold hands also is not very fun. But I do prefer winter over summer for sure.
Hello,
This
hello.
sucks though.
Hello, man. Just for the record,
Something up with you? Are they invading? Why are you talking?
Oh, I just said hello.
Can
You're too quiet. I don't hear you.
Yeah, can you
I have
go to
talkative
settings
teammates.
and go to
This
mic
could be good,
global?
but it could also be very bad.
Just we hear you so low.
Is it better now? It's on 80.
No, you are fine. I mean,
It's better now?
yeah, better, better.
Yeah, way
Okay.
better.
Your middle tower is under attack.
What the fuck? That's emoji, yeah, much.
I'll stick around for another wave. Yeah, there's no sun here today. It's fucking cold. Like, last 2 days, like yesterday and previous day, I was able to go outside at least without having gloves on when I walked the dog, but today it was too cold, so it swaps up every day.
Yeah.
They got a lot of healing at the beginning, dude. We're sucking the lane, that's why. A lot of defense, dude, it's needed.
Enemy missing middle.
Your right tower is under
Cooldowns.
attack. Your middle tower is under attack.
Be careful, Fenrir.
I don't want to back just yet. I would like to finish on my first back, but still need quite a bit of gold for that.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Dude, if you wanna do something like to call,
Your right tower is under attack.
Yeah.
dudes that just dashed their tower purple, we can try to say something.
Your right tower is under attack.
Nah, don't go, don't go.
An ally has been slain.
Both of ulti down, Yamorja and Medusa. Ulted. Ferry, you can try to gank, they've got no ult. And no mana too.
Your right tower is under attack.
It does suck. Like, it does seem like this is a baby game, but the two people that are, like, I guess, maybe it sounds rude, but like the best players probably are the two top elos here, which are in solo. It's me and this.
That is why
Mercedes.
you bogged 2 of the starter item.
What?
Your middle tower is under attack.
Ult? Nah. Go.
Because that just kind of means that I can't
You do
necessarily
the
carry from
mana
lane.
buff, let's try.
Yeah.
And we kind of
Completed?
play the same type of god where we would just team fight, big circle team fight monsters. So whoever has the team, I guess, the better team going into team fighting will probably just end up winning this game. Because we will have the same roles to play. And actually, I just realized I should have gone brawlers.
Please.
It's pause. You can vote yes. It's a pause war.
I do need to be careful here though. Being squishy into Hades is definitely scary, because I need my ult to then get out, or blink. But I also don't want to stop from just poking him, because that's kind of what Chalk does really well. That being said, poking when I don't have brawlers is also just going to end up being useless. We have very good comp late game though, but so do they. In terms of team comps, this could go both ways. Jesus, man. I'm actually like, I'm so chilly, I'm kind of shaking a little bit. It's really cold tonight.
Enemy missing right.
Good.
Enemy ultimate down.
I tried. I thought you were faster than your
Yeah.
skill.
What? It just fucking... Oh man, that
Go.
sucks.
Tower is under attack. Your right tower is
They
under
just
attack.
ignored the shit out of me. Now I lost that gold.
Go. Kill.
An enemy.
Nice.
Nice job. I'm going mid.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have, because they have Morgan, they have the advantage for sure going into late game. That being said, Chalk into Morgan is very nice with the aspect, because I can just sit on her very easily. She does have aspect, which actually does make it harder for me to sit on her, but my point stands. I gotta be more careful pressing too.
Be careful, Jack. Medusa mission.
Did it say Medusa is here? Who is here? He keeps dashing me.
Your middle tower is under attack. Attack. Attack left leg.
Enemy missing, be careful.
Call always the lane too, because I don't know if you're right or left.
Right.
Okay.
What the fuck is Fenrir going, man?
Careful left.
I'm going in thinking Fenrir's gonna come. Just never came.
An ally has been slain.
Ah, that's tragic.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain. You have slain an enemy.
Medusa ultimate down.
Very nice. Your right tower.
At least that worked
is
out
under
some way.
attack.
Just a little bit. I might get sown from the wave here, though. Sol is gonna go full mage, but I still think they have the advantage just because of the Morrigan aspect to it. Like, they could have a Hades and a Chuck.
Is under attack.
Damn it. Hit him through in time.
Enemy missing, right?
Probably still need to go for that Brawlers. But it just sucks now, because realistically I should have had it instead of Serrated.
The pyromancer.
Help, right?
Missing leg. Be careful, middle.
He does.
Fenrir, you can try to go Medusa, otherwise, never mind.
Ah,
Slay an enemy.
someone might. Yep, someone's coming. I'm just gonna go back then.
Your middle tower is under attack.
I definitely shouldn't have gotten that kill. He just keeps dashing me.
An ally has been slain.
Thanks.
Enemy ultimate down. An enemy has been slain. Follow me.
I mean, that is tragic that we allowed her to get away from that. But also bad from Artemis still not just going to me.
Good day. Your middle tower is
Fenrir?
under attack. Okay. Your right tower is under attack.
Farir, why you are building like that?
Your left tower
Be careful,
is
Medusa
under
missing
attack.
right.
Okay.
Hello, Mixel. Good to see you.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Missing left.
Medusa ultimate down.
An ally has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Okay, that's a trap there. That's fucking fantastic.
Killing spree.
Nice.
Love them.
Your left tower is under attack. Enemy missing left.
Enemy missing right.
Your left tower is under attack.
What is it, Hordic? That play was very what, huh? Tell me.
In
Your middle tower is under attack.
In my defense, though, I actually did think it was the Artemis, which was stupid because the Artemis is on my team.
Killing spree. Fear me. Your middle tower is under attack.
Man, Sol is really just dying. I think there is a skill diff over and right.
Your right tower is under attack.
Yeah, no one can.
Your right tower has been destroyed. Your right phoenix is under attack. Be careful.
be careful, Jack. Incoming.
Your left tower is under attack. Enemy missing land. Cancel that. An ally has been slain.
Nice.
An enemy.
I love them.
Enemy ultimate down.
Medusa missing, Medusa missing.
Has been slain. Your left tower is under
Farir,
attack.
do you hear me?
Your left tower has been destroyed.
You're supposed to bleed Golden Blade, not the Jotuns, if you want to do that kind of build as well.
Scrap hearts, you know.
Your middle tower is under attack. Your left tower is under attack. Enemy missing left.
Okay.
Your middle tower has been destroyed.
Incoming mid, incoming.
Attack right leg.
Go mid, go mid.
There's no one mid, dude.
The
Imagine.
fuck you talking? There are 5 people in mid.
Destroyed the pyro.
Prepare to attack.
Behind us.
Yeah. Add this in blue, add this in blue. No! Nice.
Hard is ulted.
Yeah,
We can take the tower. We can take the tower.
okay. Phoenix? No.
No.
Retreat.
Maybe I should just start talking instead of
Do you
doing
want to go
BGS.
Gold Fury?
Because I could just make the calls, but
Attack fire giant.
try and go fire.
Your
Do you want to do fire? Okay, let's
Yeah,
try.
start
Let's
fire.
try.
Go.
Yeah.
Do it.
I just started. I just.
middle tower is under attack.
Run.
Prepare to attack.
Your middle
Nice.
Someone can defend middle. The other can. We can take mid. I can tank it a little.
Yeah, I'll defend. Hey, this coming to you guys.
Nah, don't go, mate. Just do the Gold Fury. Gold Fury, guys.
Coming. Athena is coming.
Just keep an eye out for Hades, is the only problem.
I'll be right back.
I'll just be right back.
The pyro has arrived.
Let's see.
3 mid. Gold Fury should be free.
We can go everybody
Yeah,
on
do it.
Hades.
3 was left jungle, so it's free.
Your team has destroyed the gold fury.
We should push a little right though, or mid actually.
You guys just go right, I'll defend left. Make sure they don't push.
Yes, all must push.
So can you push your wave?
And also defend left, yeah.
I don't think
So
these guys
push
are listening
right.
to what I'm saying at all.
I'm coming to punch right.
Enemy missing leg.
Be right back. Careful.
There's Hades and Athena middle lane.
Medusa here, Medusa.
I'm coming, but they're coming too. Try to be careful because there's
jump.
Hades and Athena
Use the
coming.
dash.
She's recalling. She just recalled.
Oh, dude, there's no way he let him record.
Bro, let her back for free.
Morgan.
Be careful.
Whatever.
Hey, these two.
slain.
Prepare to attack.
AD setting ultimate.
Prepare to attack.
An enemy has been slain.
Don't have to work anymore.
We're just getting outplayed on the map. Like, what are we doing?
Under attack. An ally has been slain.
You got it.
Double kill.
Should we do pyro?
Yeah, yeah. Do it. Incoming. $15 seconds. Fire.
No, the aspect on Shock doesn't heal.
I don't have any
People
wood,
in
but
red,
we can
in
try
red,
pull
in red.
fire again.
At least not according to the ability itself. Sometimes
Yeah,
it feels
here?
like it does, but on the actual ability, it doesn't say that it does.
Oh my god. My bad, my
Go
bad.
fire, go fire, go fire. Go
Free kill
Medusa, go
Medusa, free kill
Medusa.
Medusa, Medusa,
Yeah,
Medusa.
Attack fire giant.
Ult Artemis.
An ally has been slain.
Surely they got Medusa. Eventually.
Help, help. Athena here.
Almost dead. That's bad on me, honestly. I shouldn't have died to that.
We need wards.
It's probably a fire for them, if no one goes there. I just died a stupid way there, honestly.
Enemies at the fire giant.
Hades did more damage than I expected, but that's stupid of me to not expect a lot of damage when he is a full build Hades and I don't have any defense.
Prepare to attack.
Pretty good distraction, honestly.
Face me.
Your left tower is under attack.
Artemis needs to start moving and stop doing mid-waves. I don't think we get this,
You're
but
alone, Gap.
The enemy team has destroyed the fire giant.
I'm worried with how much room we're just giving Medusa. She just killed Artemis in the back and then we need 3 people to chase her.
We can try gold.
Go
I
Chuck,
think.
Chuck, Chuck.
Your right Phoenix is under attack. Be careful. I'll defend right lane.
They got fired, don't forget. Let's
Yeah.
let me.
The pyromancer has arrived.
Oh, man. Almost.
My gods, man.
And Artemis, Artemis, Artemis.
An ally has been slain.
My soldiers.
Artemis, why you were there? We have to defend the right lane.
Yeah.
You can leave them.
They almost got me.
Why is this Phoenix so low? What happened over here?
Behind me, hang up.
Your right phoenix is under attack. Your middle phoenix is under attack.
Be careful, ladies, I'm going mid. Nice.
Good, good, good.
Get don't get greedy.
Shut down.
Yo, Gap.
Get.
Gap, man.
Come. Dude, I just took 2 of them away from the fight so we can get the kill.
Both ultimate down. Nice.
A fucking aspect.
She's mid lane. Just going in the
Go
bush
Fury,
here.
go Fury, go Fury.
Attack the Gold Fury.
I can solo it.
On my way.
Leave me tank, Fenrir, go out.
Your team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
I really want a red buff. It's gonna make my
Pyro?
blocking so much better.
Wait a sec, be right back.
If I get a 3k
I
bot
got
here as
minions.
well, I don't think they're gonna be able to siege as long as I'm alive. Though they do have Athena, which sucks for me, I think. Because I need to poke with my axe. And if I can't really do that... Oof,
Behind?
it's behind me.
Be careful. Yeah. Other side? Be careful, mate.
Shut down.
What is this?
Guys, you just throw the match. Fenrir, why you did that?
Why are you going 3 people for a fucking buff? You should be around Fire Giant and
Dude,
Pyromancer.
dude,
Where the fuck
dude.
are you sitting?
No, man, sorry. I'm sorry to say that. But you literally faced 5 of them. Just alone. You did a bad play. There's nothing against it. But
Nice,
you did
nice.
a bad play. You just fronted 5 people. You jumped. You used your escape for attack when no one was in front of you. You just leaped to the death.
Guys are focused on this fucking... Who did what? Guys, it's fine. Just screw up
Why-
next time. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. It's fine. No worries. I'm just saying. Buy some words though.
We can do the fire now.
Yeah, the team moral, it's fine. We got it back. It's fine.
Go fire, go fire.
We cannot take this shit. But... Since Morgan is over there, it's actually fine.
Take them late, shot.
Destroyed the fire giant.
We can do Pyro too, and then we can do the middle.
Yeah.
Group up, middle lane.
I'll defend left lane. Wait.
We need to make sure that our other lanes aren't pushing. I need to push up left.
Your left
Be careful,
tower
guys. Be
is under
careful.
attack.
Athena right.
Your team has destroyed a
Fall back, guys. Don't fight without me.
killing.
Dead.
Good, good. Chuck, we need you mid.
Be right back. Be right back.
I got also the bomb for one of the phoenixes.
Okay, okay.
Retreat.
Nice, nice.
I saved your butt so bad.
GG, guys.
Dude, I didn't expect my ult to do as much damage as it did to Morgan.
Enemy has left the game.
She got absolutely cooked.
Well played, well played!
Well played, well played.
Yeah, the 1k Athena auto, dude. It took me by surprise as well.
Attack MVP, man.
That was fucking crazy how
Oh,
much
God.
the... If you just
Love
turned
you guys.
around and hit me for 1k. For the Mashak was nasty. It always has been. Always has been. But it like against good players, it is a bit of like a double-edged sword, because being that squishy and you have to use your main escapability to do damage is really, really risky against a good player when they just know how to just collapse on you. Like full damage chalk, I think, is really risky into good players. Damn. Looks like it was rough on the enemy team and the comps. Games like that is why I tend to want to play something that I can actually carry on, because without me on chalk this game, I wouldn't have won. If I was just having fun, playing like, I don't know, like on her solo, you know, like attack speed on her, which is super fun to play. But are you gonna really carry the game with that? Probably not. So, but again, I mean, it is just like kind of tryharding, playing Hades and Chuck. But I have been doing that pretty much most of my time, I would say, outside of these casuals, where I decided to play some Artemis. I did play Poseidon, but you see how that went. Then I went Chuck. Oh, look at that. Even this Hades game where I lost still went pretty well. So, dude, I played too much Hades on Chuck lately, but it seems to be the only thing that I can actually win on at the moment. I will not play Hades or Chuck in the next one, though. I might actually want to try the Aspect Thor. I only tried it once in a casual, just to get a feel for it. It's weird. Aspect CERN? Pass. I tried it once, and while I do like it for laning phase, it is terrible for teamfighting. I hate it for teamfighting. There is something fun about it though, like the dash cooldown. Like, what is it? Does it get reset? I don't think it gets reset. It gets halved or something like that if you hit an enemy. Yeah, it's reduced when hitting an enemy god, but how much? I don't know if it says anywhere how much it actually is, but point is, That part is pretty fun. You can just kind of do it like a Mordred dash in a way, just dash through people constantly. But dude, I mean, you're just gonna get fucked on in this meta. I don't want to dash any ADC or mage unless I know I can kill them, and the certain aspect doesn't necessarily kill you. But I'm sure it could be good if you knew what you were doing. I just haven't done it enough. My worry though with Thor, if I want to play Thor now, is that if I do end up getting a bad server, it will be actually unplayable. Thor on a bad server will be the most unfun shit. Uller in Thor doesn't get any worse because you rely fully on skill shotting. Except for like one ability basically, and that's not gonna be fun. But that game felt great. Like I had no issues this game. So here's hoping. Oh yeah, they added the actual store now too. I do need this Amma skin. Don't think I care about the others though. Maybe Fenris. There's also the chests. Oh yeah, I can start using my things. Let's do that. Grab me some chests. And I got the Amma skin. Perfect. Don't need to spend any more. That's cool. I mean, they finally added the store. Then all of these. What's this? Is this new? Did they add this? I know the Thor one is new. The Chuck one is really cool. I'm actually kind of tempted to get this. But I don't want to use diamonds for this. So I could just buy it, but that's a lot more expensive, I think. What the fuck's Chuck, man? There's... Wait, what? No, I need one worshipper! Damn. Actually it's not even that expensive. I could just get it, but... It's a really cool skin I am very tempted to get, but I simply do not play enough Chuck in general to really utilize it. I would rather get skins for gods that I actually really enjoy playing, and sounds, I don't know, I guess for Smite 2 that sounds a bit weird, because like Chuck is essentially my 5th most played god. You know what, fuck it, I guess I will. Unless the Radiant is good enough. I don't really think Chuck's skins are the coolest ones of the Mastery skins. Like, I do think this one is alright. This is the best one of them. The Radiant one is alright. I don't know, there's just something off about them, to me. Like, base Chuck... I don't know, I think it's just the coloring feels a bit off on them. Like, everything is, like, so shiny. But I guess that's the point. It's a fucking 7-minute queue. I really do hope... Excuse me. Hope we get God Builder soon. Fucking choking on my own spit. I need God Builder to just sit and fuck around in. While I wait. Dude, what's wrong with the? It's not alphabetic. Okay, there we go. Never mind. It's just me being stupid. No, Bacchus is first. Not alphabetic. Why is Bacchus and Hercules first? Well, actually, it's all. It's Neith and Nemesis as well. What? So it is correct, except for the full first 5, it seems. I think the rest is correct. Yeah. Weird. $10. It's not boding well. Need something where I could just control my lane then. I could try and do aspect turn, if you guys wanted to see that. I think I could. Probably. Maybe potentially carry with it. I think it depends. It really depends on what I'm against, I think, in lane. Because if I meet something like Hercules or, I don't know, maybe like a good Achilles or something, like a frontline that knows how to play the game, I might struggle a lot. Because I'm just naturally more squishy than them, even though I'm supposed to be a frontline with that aspect. Or like Bologna, that's probably the worst thing I could meet. That would be terrible. It's absolutely a horrendous matchup for Kennels in the first place. I do think it's pretty cool though, essentially having a Frostbound on him. Dude, why is this queue so long? I feel like my queues are always the longest when I stream. If I'm solo queuing or just playing off stream, it's usually not that long. Was Aladdin even banned my last game? I don't even remember if he was. I forgot what the enemy banned. Dude, how long is this gonna be? I'm really gonna get baby gamed now. I must have missed the queue that I had before, But now there's just no one. Finally. I waited so long my hands became cold again after warming up. Yeah, I don't know anyone. At least I'm first pick though. I guess I will just ban Amma because the low elos don't know how to deal with it. I feel like such an asshole putting it like that. But they also don't know how to deal with Saul. Whatever, I'll ban Saul. Spend the things they don't know how to deal with. That way I can get Aladdin.
Select your god.
Maybe I should just waited for someone to snipe. Like Nika's streaming, I see Ragnar is also streaming. They might be in the same game though. I was actually gonna go for the aspect Kernus. Unless Aladdin was open. Because I just want to play Aladdin. I'm guessing I'm against the Anubis though, or Nuwa. Would prefer the Anubis, or rather the Nuwa, honestly. Anubis is gonna be a pretty bad matchup for me. And I refuse to go Divine Ruin, because that's gonna be so unfun. Even if I might have to if I go into Anubis.
Aladdin.
It's a beat scheme. Has Aladdin been nerfed again since last I played him? I kind of forgot. Was he nerfed in this patch? I guess I can check real fast. No, it does not seem like it. No, he wasn't. Okay. Then he is still broken late, but just fine early. Yeah, it is Anubis. It's not the worst. I think Anubis is better than dealing with something insane like Hercules, but I do think it is one of the more scary ones just in general to meet. Because he has the same kind of one-shot potential as I do. If he hits the wrap, if I hit my jump. And then he can immune my jump if he plays it well with his one, so that will make things a lot more difficult.
Curses! Recall! Right!
Let's just deny him a little bit.
First blood. Illuminating. Your left tower is under attack. I'm the greatest. Right. To me, Jimmy.
Ow.
Your left tower is under attack.
This is a bit of a laggy server. I can feel it. It's not horrible, but I feel it. It's maybe like a 120 type feeling ping. So annoying, but could be a lot worse. What the fuck, man? It's gonna be annoying for auto canceling for later. And no, Jordan, it still feels like ass.
Recall. Enemies in the right lane.
That's annoying. Just kind of waste the beats, to be honest.
To me, Ginny.
I was going to invade after I cleared the wave, but now I'll just do my own shit.
Recall.
Good part for me is that Anubis doesn't seem that good, but we'll see what happens once he finishes some items.
Recall.
No, I denied myself gold. But I think at least he lost the XP fully for that.
Under attack. To me.
What? Well, I am lagging if that wasn't clear.
On my way. An ally has been slain.
Damn, 0 ganks so far, you are fucking clueless. You are fucking clueless, you piece of shit.
Damn, he's so mad. Yeah, this is looking pretty rough. Like, I recognize their jungler
Ally has been slain.
as well as their mid, and they're gonna get absolutely diffed, I fear. Waiting 14 minutes just to get into a duo queue that will absolutely trash mine. I mean, I should have a duo queue as well, though, right? You gonna ult? No.
Your middle tower is under attack. Recall.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, there it is. He's playing aggressive, that means Susano is nearby.
On my way. Recall. Killing spree. You light up my world.
I guess I shouldn't have done that. Dude, hit him!
An enemy
Okay,
has
that
been
works.
slain.
I'll take the trade because he died for it too, but damn,
Your left tower
didn't expect that aggressive of a play. Well done.
An enemy has been slain.
I didn't even get the assist for it either. That kind of sucks. My spot's still there. You boys should get out.
Attack the right lane. Recall.
What hit me? Wait, what? I took 64 damage from something. It wasn't the plug. Otherwise I would have gotten grabbed. It wasn't the 3, I would have dot. I don't know what hit me.
Recall.
We are really giving Susano a lot of breathing room here. He's just running around in our jungle. And now he's here.
You rock.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep playing it very safe, because Susano is gonna be here a lot.
To me. An ally has been slain. Your middle tower is under attack. Retreat. An ally has been slain. Double kill. To me. Your middle tower is under attack.
Probably gonna lose my buff again.
An ally has been slain. Recall. Your middle tower is under attack.
That's nice for me. At least I'm getting the XP. Cupid Capri? Okay. I expect big things. Yeah. It's not going too well in Duo either, unfortunately.
Okay. Killing spree. You rock. To me, Genie.
Well, I hate it, but I'm just gonna have to go for Divine Run here.
Killing spree. Double kill. To me, Genie.
Okay.
Let's settle this. Shut down.
Nope, I've just missed everything.
Your middle tower is under
Move
attack.
Jordan.
Your middle tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain. Shut down. The pyromancer has arrived.
I'll defend right lane.
Your right tower is under attack.
I think I would have a bit more hope if I wasn't also lagging this game,
Your middle tower is under attack.
but I'm just... Yeah.
Your team has destroyed.
I don't
the
want to keep
gold
saying
fjord.
it.
Your right tower
You
is
know.
under attack.
You know it and you have eyes.
You rock. Cancel that. Be right back. Enemy spotted.
I did not get a kill for that rotation, which is a bit rough. Didn't really get a whole lot of XP out of rotating, meaning Anubis is now gonna have a bit of an XP lead on me.
Record.
Still very worth rotation though. Okay.
Your left tower is under attack.
He was just there on spawn this time. And Artemis is full HP behind the tier 1. Like, what is happening?
Enemy missing right. Record. Be right back.
I don't know what's going on in this game. Okay, dude. Should have dashed the other way, I guess.
Your left tower is under attack. An ally has been slain.
My bees wasn't up just yet.
Your middle tower is under attack. Your right
Just
tower
looking
is
pretty
under
rough
attack.
already. We don't really have anywhere that can carry this.
Attack.
And I won't be able to until I can start rotating more. How is Anubis there?
Your
Fuck.
middle tower is under attack. Your right tower is under attack.
On my way.
An enemy has been slain.
I guess Anubis is gone.
Record.
An ally has been slain. under attack.
Damn it, man.
An ally has been slain. Your left tower is under attack. Double kill. Killing spree.
Fire giant.
That's not a good call. I can't follow that.
Recall. Enemy missing right.
Killing spree.
Artemis death scream. Did she always have that? It's so loud.
Enemy spotted.
It's fucking Susano, man. He's really just fucking shutting me down.
Attack.
To me,
Susano's still around? That's the big question. Guess not.
be careful left. Enemy spotted. Recall.
Shut down.
You rock. To me. Enemy missing right.
This fucking boar is fucking everywhere, man. Ugh.
Your middle tower is under attack. Your middle tower has been destroyed.
This is a depressing game, having
Your middle tower is under attack.
no teammates as well as lagging, man.
Your middle tower is under attack.
It does suck because I can definitely fight them. Susano always gets out just because it's Susano. And I do actually need to start using some wishes if I want to get something done. I kind of forgot. I haven't been in Latin in a little while. Still got all of them left.
Recall.
Your right tower is under attack.
Retreat. 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 Recall.
I hate how aggressive Anubis can play. And he just cannot get punished for it, because I don't have a jungler anywhere near.
The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
To me, Genie.
And I'm too far behind myself to stop it.
Recall.
Bancroft could be worth it. Perhaps. That's fucking fantastic. How is the ADC here? In the first place. Arta, Miss, Blink, ult. Who's ult?
Your right tower is under attack. Your
I think he ulted. Yeah, he did. I just immuned it. There's a tilting game.
Your team has destroyed a left enemy tower.
Actually, Spear of Deso. I forgot about this because I had to go Divine Rune. Absolutely Spear of Deso. Boys. Boys, boys, boys. Like, how long? I mean, this might be the worst team I've had in a while. There is zero, and absolutely zero.
An ally has been slain.
Observation skills. And this one. I feel like they're just 3 men sitting on me and I can't do anything about it. Because I don't have a team that aren't fucking realizing it.
The enemy team has destroyed the Pyromancer. Your middle tower is under attack.
Guess I'm bagging.
Your middle tower is under attack. Rampage! Your middle tower has been destroyed. Your middle Phoenix is under attack.
Okay. Top damage for some reason too. I've barely even done anything this game.
Your Titan is under attack.
Yeah. I feel like every time I do pick something like Aladdin, my team just dies before I have a chance to get online. You want to do a Q dodge? It's no matter what better than what I just experienced. My mid was 1-9. I didn't do anything this game. I was still top damage at least until the very last Titan fight where Kukulkan just did more. This was atrocious. Oh, we're into a Q? Okay. I'll just keep trying my luck. I might just end the stream though if I get another 10 minutes or like 30-minute queue or 13-minute queue. There we go. Because then I know I'm just gonna get super baby gamed. I don't want to do that. But like bots did quite literally nothing this game. Literally nothing. He apparently didn't gank duo, and he wasn't in solo once, even though Susano was ganking me and taking my blue on cooldown. So there's really much to do in games like that. Rank 9. Just 300 or 270, well, 68 to be precise, more worshippers to go. Like games like this is why I just pick Hades and Chuck, because they have good early, they have good mid, they have good late, and they have good escape abilities as well. So you can always kind of just survive if you're getting camped. You can just save clear for the most part. If I don't know my teammates, I should just stick to doing that, because otherwise it's just fucking impossible to play. I don't think this game would have changed if I played something different. I'm not gonna lie, but still. Fucking 2 games and 130 minutes, man. Because the queues are so fucking long every single time. Damn. That game took so much out of me. Don't even know if I feel like playing anymore. I just went wrong on every level. I just don't know why getting a Q is so difficult. It's like worse than ever. But from what I can see, some people's games are ending now. Hopefully I can somehow get into one of those queues. I just need Vermont on the game, man. Give me something I can just go to and play. I don't have a go-to god. That's not true. I guess I do have Mordred. I'm always kind of down to play Mordred, but he's just so hard to carry with. And if you lose lane, you're just fucking done. You can't do anything. Mordred from ahead is very good at pushing a lead. Mordred from behind is a fucking snack. It's absolutely useless. Kind of like Hercules in that sense. Low mobility frontliners just fucking snacks if they fall behind. Alright, I'm gonna give the dog some food, so if the Q pops, I should still make it. Test. Okay, fixed. We're good. What happened to it? Did it go like a Smurf mode, like me, like weird? Because that happened once before, and I don't know why. It happened on while talking to a friend on Discord though, not on stream. Yeah. Okay. What the fuck? Weird. I don't know why he does that. But thank you for letting me know, because that would have been really, really annoying and awkward if that happened for a long time. I don't know how long it's been happening. I don't like their duo comp for me as Artemis. Like, on her, Aphrodite sounds kind of extremely horrible for me to deal with. But I hope for the best. And despite the aspect not being as good anymore on bots, I do hope he doesn't have the aspect. Because that would suck. Good. I don't want to get stunned this Artemis, man. That's going to be worse than anything else. I can't tell if I'm lagging. Honestly, Artemis auto attacks are always kind of weird to me. Guess I just do serrated first. I think I am lagging a little bit again. Just F her through it for the first game? Yeah, I mean, that's... Yeah, you don't do that. I can't tell, man. Artemis... All her abilities are weird. I do think I am lagging a little bit, but I could be wrong too. Because I really can't tell with her. On her and on Chalk, I can't fucking tell if I'm lagging or not sometimes. I need to hit something before I can actually tell. I need to see how my auto interacts with the enemy before I can tell if I'm lagging or not. Either way, it's not terrible. Like, I haven't felt any stuttering just yet. Counseling after game. Honestly, I could kind of use that after my last game. That was very unfun. Playing Aladdin solo, lagging while my teammates are absolutely feeding every single lane. It was not a fun experience. Yeah, there is a little bit of lag. Good thing I'm just an auto or a ability-based Artemis, and I don't have to worry about it too much. Oh, Bluestone, no. My trap literally just didn't want to fucking go off. I'm fucking spamming that shit. That would have been perfect spot for it. That makes me sad. I guess I was just spamming inside the wall. course, bots is here. Why wouldn't it be? Guess I can't play aggressive then. Fucking hell, man. I'm so fucking tired of my junglers today. I'm so fucking tired of them. What the fuck are you, man? Why are you in the opposite side of the lane? Huh? Or the fucking map? Help me out. Where are you? Still, I'm more pissed about the lag. This lane would be so easy as well if they didn't have Afro. Like the amount of poke Artemis has is just so good. But yeah, it's not really gonna amount to anything. Still, it keeps them in line. Because she needs to use her heal just to stay around in lane. It's both their ults. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a gigantic jungle diff again. Kipper left already. Can't really contest it. Guess they have words. I'm lagging too fucking much for this shit, man. No game sound? What? Dude, my sound is just all fucked up. I don't know why, but let me see if I can fix it once I I'm able to. I need it back. Yeah, I can see it. It's not picking up. It's just too much fucking control. Can't fucking do anything about it. I'm building a pretty decent XP lead though, because of effort staying around for so long. I have a full level on him. He walled it off. That's kind of crazy. Still, Tusky got around and actually just outplayed them. Wild. I think my 3 missed. I could have run to him, I suppose. Kind of forgot we had Kepri there, but why also didn't he just go to me? I'm not sure. Oh, my ult just came up too. Oh yeah, let me see if I can fix the game sound. I assume it just... Dude, what? Do I need to restart my fucking game for it to pick up? Why can't I adjust it in here? I'm not sure I can fix that, guys. Because there apparently isn't a fucking option for it. It's either that or it's an issue on OBS specifically. But then I need more time. And it's fucking done. Well, rip the full lead I had on her.
Careful right and the mission middle. The enemy team has destroyed the Pyromancer.
You here? I didn't do anything.
An enemy has been slain.
Dude, what am I even building? I'll do Terukaki. I definitely still think I can fight on her.
An ally has been slain.
The main problem is the bots.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Combat simulation.
Beware the shifting sands.
I am just not able to do anything here.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Enemies at the core fury.
Completed.
Okay. Enemy ultimate incoming.
Retreat.
We just got this for free. Please do not die for this now.
Double kill. You have slain an enemy.
Alright, now we're playing, boys.
Factory combat simulation.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Still, I would like to invade their stuff and take more away from them. On her side specifically, but
Your right tower is under attack.
I just can't. Bots comes over, I'm dead, even though I know he's at the moment on our red. I'll just need to back. Maybe I can rotate over and help my team instead. I'm so indecisive.
The pyromancer has arrived. Your right tower is under attack.
I should have backed.
Enemy missing left.
An enemy has been slain. You have been slain.
Enemy ultimate down.
Elation.
Fucking bots was there, man. My own greed is my own undoing.
Your left tower is under attack.
I would have been just fine too if it wasn't because I got impaled. He insta-ulted, man. It's good they got a kill, but that could have been so much more clean if he just didn't insta-ult. I get it though. If he gets, I mean, he even got impaled actually. There was nothing Honor could have done outside of trying to jump, and that's when you just ult him. Still though, that's a good kill for me, so I don't fall too far behind. Oh, he's so fat, man. Bots ult again. How much cooldown does he have? He's got double penetration on Heartseeker though. That's crazy.
Middle tower is under attack.
How is his ult that low cooldown? I guess it's just because he's so fat that he's got the levels for it to be that low.
Toward the gold fury!
We just need to ward it. I don't understand. Ward the fucking gold fury, man.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Dude, how? Go in! Dude, what's the problem? Kill them! There's 2 people! Why is Loki running away? Like, why is he so fucking scared? Ow. We don't really have good objective damage for fire, though. Did he team beats that? He did. That sucks, man. I didn't know he had it. So I just wasted mine. I'm playing this pretty badly at the moment. At least we did get it. I panicked. I think I would enjoy this game so much if I just had good ping. Because it's been pretty even so far. Outside of bots just being super fed, but like... we've been able to fight back.
Your right
And
tower
Afra's here,
is
of
under
course she is.
attack. Your right tower has been destroyed.
And that means bots might TP. I just can't play in my lane right now.
Enemy missing left!
Acknowledged.
Enemies at the fire giant! On my way.
On my way.
Help right lane! Enemies incoming! Enemies behind us! Your middle tower is under attack.
Yes.
On my way.
Be right back. Incoming. Be right back.
Be right back.
Okay.
Don't think I can back.
The Pyromancer has arrived. Enemies at the Gold Fury!
I'm not really sure what we're trying to do. Like forcing fire like that without any wards. Because we could easily set up a gank with Sobek, with Kepri.
Destroyed the
I
pyro.
feel we're just giving up more than we're actually getting. It feels really awkward. We lost both gold and fire and pyro in this exchange.
Group up.
Team? Guys?
Elation.
High five, team! Team? Guys? Oh my fluff, that was awesome!
Oh, I'm fucking up my posture. I suddenly got real into like tryhard mode. Like super focus mode. It's fucking up my back in the process.
Ultimate is ready.
I mean, I don't know, man. It feels like we want to try and fight, but no one's going in. Then I try to poke, and they just hit me instead. Like, fuck this, man. I don't want to fight.
I'll defend left lane.
Unless, like, what are we doing here?
Enemy ultimate incoming.
Vulcan's just getting caught. That's cooked.
Shut down. Okay. You have been slain.
Okay.
Ally has been slain.
Careful middle.
Your left tower is under attack.
I don't really want to start anything. Whatever. Like, I'm just sitting here waiting for something to happen, and nothing's happening, and when we do something, someone's getting caught, and it's fucking Vulcan for some reason, behind Pyro. Like, why was he even there? Pyro is down. I do not know what he was doing. Then I positioned myself bad, looking for something. I should have just gone left. Defended instead. Instead.
Shut down. Your right tower is under attack.
It's just that absolutely insanely gigantic jungle div.
Your middle phoenix is under attack. Your right phoenix is under attack.
Oh, we still lost the fucking Phoenix.
Your right phoenix is restored.
Fucking ow.
A satisfactory combat simulation.
Okay, man.
Okay.
And now lack of vision just means that stuff's gonna happen.
Your left tower is under attack. Your left tower has been destroyed.
I also don't really like the build I ended up with, because I ended up forcing myself to go brawlers. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just built normally. Let's just put some traps here. Like, Kepri is not even like buying wards and backs. It's super weird.
The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
Do people hate warding that bad? I don't even know what happened, man. What the fuck killed me? Just everything hit me? I guess I was in a fucking shit position then. That one's probably my bad. Fun.
Your Titan is under attack.
Just the bots diff, man. And specifically not bots, just the jungle diff. What bots did this game compared to Loki was just unreal. I'm only gonna say like Loki wasn't a bad player, but like it just felt like nothing was happening. What the hell? You got vaporized? I don't know what happened honestly. I just think I just got hit with everything, and then we have like 2 mages with like Soul Reaver, I assume. No, only one of them had Soul Reaver, but like I guess just I get hit by Soul too. I got hit by the Soul Reaver as well. I saw the dot on that shit, and on her was apparently was ulting me too. So something knocked me up though. I don't know what that was. It must have been Soul ult, but it felt bigger than that. I don't know. That was just overall a weird game. But once again, like I hate sounding like a broken record. I feel like I'm saying this too much lately, but it really is because it pisses me off. The amount of server lag that I'm experiencing is just way too fucking much, man. It completely ruins the experience. I think I would have enjoyed this game despite the loss if I was just able to play the game correctly. Saw a bomb right beside Phoenix. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That must have been what knocked me up then. That fits the amount of knock-up that does. Because it definitely wasn't a solo ult knock-up. That was much bigger than that. Artemis is fun, but fucking hell, man. I swear to God, man. If I quit, it's gonna end up being because of the lag. So 2 out of 3 games today have been bad servers for me. It's just unenjoyable. Kind of just loses purpose. This will be my last game though, because I need to walk the dog soon. So hopefully, please server gods, give me a good one. Into the queue I go once again. I don't even know what to play either. I actually do enjoy ADC more now that Artemis is in, for some reason. Excuse me. I just don't think I enjoyed it as much before, when I didn't really have an ADC that I enjoyed that much. Now that they've taken on her away from me, so it just feels like ass. Maybe once Apollo comes, I'll enjoy ADC more. I think I just prefer mid though over ADC in Smite 2. Besides from solo, obviously. Dude, they need something you can spend this on even after you're done. Shouldn't be diamonds though, that might be too much. But also maybe it could be diamonds, just not that much. Otherwise people might just abuse the system, I guess. Why does Honor feel ass? It's probably a mix of his new animations combined with just... He feels slower. Like, the Impale doesn't feel as fast in Smite 2 as it did in Smite 1. Yeah, 1k per 5 diamonds. Yeah, I think that sounds fine too. It just feels sad, just having nothing to use them on after you're done. Because, like, how long is this gonna be here? For, like, months, I guess? Maybe, like, a month still? So, it's just gonna sit here. The old feels horrible. Yeah, the old is also feel... I'm not as big of a hater of the ultimate, but I understand why people hate it. And I do think the other one did feel better, if that makes sense. So. And I don't really mind the new model either, if they just kept the old animations, I guess. But something about it just doesn't feel right. But my main issue is just Impale. Impale feels slightly delayed for some reason, and I don't know if it's the animation that needs to play off or whatever it is, but it feels terrible. And people might even know this, but it used to feel even worse. Because the old animation, when the originally Smite 2, I guess the alpha came out, he did a full spin before he actually threw the Impale. It was terrible. It was so bad. I don't even know why that was a thing in the first place. I do think they can up the scaling, or I guess the resolution a bit on the model itself, because you're right, it does look a bit fuzzy and weird. But I think they will do that eventually. I'm pretty sure they're already looking into what they should do with Honor. It's not a priority, I guess. Either way, I don't think he's... Like, he feels terrible at the moment. I still have him pretty high. Like, what rank am I with Honor? Can't really tell here, I guess, but... Like, I'm somewhat high. I'm like rank 6 or 7, so I've played him a pretty decent amount. I still like his kit. I think he's a super fun, like, god to play. I just don't think he feels as good, or anywhere near as good as he did in Smite 1. Where I think most gods actually feel better. Like, Hades feels 10 times better than it did in Smite 1. I think Ullr feels better. I think Odin feels better. Poseidon, whatever, so on and so forth. I think most gods feel better in Smite 2, because they just feel more clean. And their animations aren't as locked. There's a lot more movement between, like, ability animations in Smite 2, because just the nature of UE5. So all that stuff do feel a lot more smooth, but Honor is not one of them. But yeah, I mean, in case I end up lagging, I'll just have to pick up something that I can actually play despite the lag. Just need to be ability based. Some big circles and some int scaling and or strength, so I won't have to think about auto cancelling and all that crazy stuff. But yeah, I did tweet it out that I have issues with servers and stuff. I don't know if anyone else. There was one person at least that responded to that tweet that said the same thing, that they also have some issues with servers. It's not everyone. It's obviously something that's a location thing. It just happens so much in Smite 2 that I would appreciate it if people wanted to just go over and retweet it, because
Select your god.
it sucks for those of us that it affects real badly. It is borderline unplayable on some gods. Like, if you play Thor or Ullr, you can't play the fucking game if you have 150 to 200 ping. It's not gonna happen. I'll just do Chalk again, I guess. One of the few gods that I can still play despite the ping. Even though it might fuck up my screen sometimes when I teleport. Dude, I'm not dealing with Anubis again. So tired of Anubis. Get him out of my lane. At least I can build near the brawlers. Alright. Looks like it's not going to be Anubis for me, though. Dude, they have so much healing. If we don't build anti-healing, we're screwed.
Shock.
They have a lot of magic. Dude, I met this comp earlier today. It's basically the same comp. Hades, Athena, Medusa. And they had Yemoja support, and I forgot what the last one was. It was Morgan. So instead of Aphrodite and Anubis, it was Morgan and Yemoja. And I was playing Chalk that game too. Oh man, this is gonna suck, I think. Please give me a good server. I needed this game, man. Gilf Slayer, is that his name? Did I see that right? Yes, I did. We're meeting Gilf Slayer. I mean, I still need to go for anti-healing, I think.
Good drink, eh?
Just undo everything. I think I need to be safe. And based on how my buying potions is lagging as well, I am pretty sure that I am lagging in this game too. It's just fucking crazy. I don't want to sound like a doomer, guys. I really don't. But playing 4 games and 3 of them having bad servers is fucking horrible. And I do not know what the fuck is going on at the high risk for that to be the case. But it sucks for me. As a consumer. As an enjoyer of Smite 2. And I would rather play something else than lag. Because I can literally just go play something where I'm not lagging.
Minions have spawned.
This only happens in Smite. It just sucks, man, because I enjoy the game a lot. I would like to keep enjoying it. Okay. I don't know why I didn't see that coming. Too busy complaining. And I obviously went for double pot situation, so I don't want to damage. Probably gonna lose blue. Don't think I'm getting a blue buff, but I'm gonna make sure I'm getting something here. Come back! It's fucking creeps. I tried really to keep my blink here. Maybe I could have killed him as well, actually. Didn't realize how low he was.
Your right tower is under attack.
I'll wait backing.
Enemy ultimate down.
Your right tower is under attack. An ally has been slain.
I don't know if I can allow myself to stick around though.
Attack middle lane. Ultimate down.
I'll just back. Before I regret it.
Enemy missing right. Your left tower is under attack. An enemy has been slain.
I have no idea where Hades went though. He went Divine Ruin first. Okay.
Your left tower is under attack. You have been slain.
I just had my item, man. Item diff. Could have healed more. I just fucking TP'd as well. And I also wish it wasn't lagging.
Your right tower.
The stuttering when I TP is gonna be so bad in team fights. It always is. It's gonna be full level ahead of me now.
Your right tower is under attack.
Enemy missing left. Save yourself.
What? Also, pretty sure I got a hair in my mouse because it keeps fucking my cam.
An enemy has been slain. Your left tower is under attack.
I also completely forgot that I needed to go brawlers and not serrated. Dude, I'm stupid. Stupid and bad. I can't focus anymore. It's a fucking tragedy.
Your left tower is under attack.
On my way.
An enemy has been slain.
Probably just gonna sit in tower for a bit. I'll be there later, but I need to stop falling behind.
Enemy missing right. Your middle tower is under attack.
Assume he's gonna go proxy. No. He TP'd.
An ally has been slain.
Well, they call it at least.
Gank middle lane.
Enemy
It sucks, but I do need brawlers more than anything, so...
An ally has been slain. Your right tower is under attack. Your middle tower is under attack.
I was so sure he wanted to steal it again. I was trying to bait him out because I thought he was in the bush.
Your right tower is under attack.
He was not.
Enemy missing right. An ally has been slain. Your left tower is under attack. Enemy ultimate down. An ally has been slain. Your left tower is under attack.
I would feel more confident in a matchup like this if I could respond faster to his stuff. Like Chalk versus Hades, I think, full damage Chalk at least, is pretty rough. Because like one wrong axe and you're not getting out of the Hades ult. And you need to ult as a response.
Enemy missing right.
But because I can't, like, as you can see, just 1ing and 2ing makes me stutter and lag a bit.
Missing right. Middle lane. Retreat. Middle lane. Please. Your right tower is under attack. Killing spree.
That's very nice. He had 3 kills.
Right lane.
Huh. Sexy Fox 69. It's a good name though, you gotta admit that at least.
Enemy missing left.
Don't think I'm gonna be able to yoink this in time before he comes back. I'll just go away.
I'll attack left lane. Enemy missing right. Save yourself. On my way. Attack. Enemy ultimate down.
Dude, I don't know how Cheerio played with high ping for so long before he moved to NA.
Missing left. Retreat. An ally has been slain.
Maybe it's because I had it and now I don't have it, that it sucks more for me, but...
Has been slain.
Are we really not gonna go in on that?
The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
Guess not. I'm just not gonna have Transcendence this game, I guess. Which does suck. I don't think Trance is bad. I like it as a just a pure power item, really. Especially if I'm going Chuck. Because you can just farm so easily. The same thing with Thoth, you know. Not going Book of Thoth and Hades simply means your all-in isn't as good. You know?
Enemy missing right.
I wish. I wish that we had more control somewhere. That wasn't even a lag problem. That's just me trying to get something. Damn, he looks like he's lagging out.
An enemy has been slain.
He died for it too. That's kind of karma, man. Because Anubis wouldn't have died originally. He only went for that kill because he was AFK.
Enemies in left lane. Enemy spotted. Your middle tower is under attack. Your right
He doesn't have an ult at the moment,
under
man.
attack.
Yeah, I'm kind of into that thought process at the moment as well. The less I play, the happier I'm gonna be right now. This lag is just ruining my, like... This would have been such a fun game to play out. I'm finally against, like, a top-tier solo in Doduin here. But I can't fucking play the game because I'm lagging with 150 to 200 fucking ping. Like, come on, man. And I don't even get it. Maybe I'm just a gigantic fucking idiot, and I don't understand how fucking servers work. But why the fuck am I lagging and everyone else isn't? Well, I guess that part is a location thing, but still.
Your middle tower is under attack.
I just can't fucking play the game.
Your left tower is under attack.
I'm done, man. I don't want to play anymore. Harry's won't let me.
Your middle tower has been destroyed.
I mean, if Vives is also lagging, it is purely a high-risk bullshit issue. They need to fix this shit. Imagine a new player joins, they're lagging, and they don't want to fucking question it. They just go play something else because they're not lagging, right? Like, this is surely horrible for the game. And it shouldn't be that difficult to fix. It wasn't an issue in Smite 1, why is it an issue in Smite 2? Like, sometimes in Smite 1 you would have a bad server. Like, this shit's gonna happen if you're playing an online game. But this is happening almost more than 50% of my games. In my own region. It's insane. it's happening at an insanely high rate. And I don't even know if they're aware of it. I've been trying to contact them on fucking social media, but it doesn't fucking matter.
Your left tower is under attack. Your left tower has been destroyed.
Smite wouldn't get you mad. Smite would definitely still get me mad in like at times, but right now it sucks that I'm not getting mad because of something in the game itself. I'm getting mad because of a bad server. Like that's worse. There is very few things in the world that can really piss me off, but lag is one of them. It pisses me the fuck off because it's in no one's control outside of the developers themselves. Fix the issue. That's literally it. Just fix it. It sounds stupid, like fully. It absolutely sounds stupid that I'm just going fix the issue, no problem.
Your right tower is under attack. Your middle tower is under attack.
I didn't make it my ult off in time. Couldn't fucking press my ult.
Your right tower is under attack. Your middle tower is under attack.
I could definitely have pressed it a bit sooner, but by the time I tried to react with it, I just died. Even though I pressed it. That's absolutely tragic.
Your middle tower is under attack. The enemy team has destroyed the
It would help as well if we just had some kind of way to tell ping, because I can't tell anywhere. There isn't like a ping counter like there's an FPS counter through Steam. You can just tell your FPS, but like, as far as I know, there's no way to tell what your ping is. Yeah, you have an FPS counter. Like, you literally actually just have that. I guess I have it on, yeah, I didn't even realize. I'm looking at the Steam one, I haven't in my top right, but I don't think you guys see that, so... I need to see my ping. It will also be much easier to try and fix myself if it is something that I can fix myself. Not that it is. Pretty sure it fucking isn't. I've tried. People just dying. Dude. Even if I wasn't lagging, I don't think this is a winnable game. With Danza not really having a great time over there. But still.
Your middle tower has been destroyed. An enemy has been slain.
I can survive, I just need to... you know what, this is bad idea.
Your middle phoenix has been destroyed. Your left tower is under attack. Enemies have returned to base. Your left tower has been destroyed. That's too bad. Your left phoenix is under An ally has been slain.
I don't want to get taunted, I'm absolutely cooked if I get taunted. Dude! Vives! You can't keep saying attack, and then you're the only one who didn't attack! No, man. Oh, okay. Well, Danza missed the ult. That sucks.
Your Titan is under attack.
I think we're still having another day, I guess.
Has arrived.
I do feel for him. He walks out, he just dies. Like, what can you do? At this point in the game, like, why are they even there? But still. Why did he ult? Oh, he's just done, I guess. Okay.
The enemy team has destroyed the Gold Fury.
He's just kind of trolling. That's unfortunate. We actually still could win this game, I think. If we had full late game, we have Thanatos, Akate, Chalk. Like, lag or no, I hit a big ult, and I've done my job.
Enemies incoming! Gank! The enemy team has destroyed the Pyromancer.
I guess they're just waiting for fire. Man, if I could just finish Crusher, that'd be kind of big.
Enemy missing. Okay.
No, man!
Double kill. An ally has been slain.
They just left fire. I don't actually understand why they did that. I mean, they could just go and kill us. Not that it matters, but... I cannot wait until Friday so I can play something else. I wanted to get some nice streams in this week, because I am fully aware that I will not be playing and streaming a whole lot of Smite the next coming week because of Monster Hunter Wilds, and I need a break from Smite.
An ally has been slain. Now they have
But right now that couldn't come any sooner. We have a slight chance of defending this.
killing spree. Shut down. Double kill. Your middle phoenix has been destroyed. An ally has been slain. Your Titan is under attack. Double kill.
Yep. That's great. Alright. I'm just gonna go because I can't play without any laggy servers. Apparently, it's literally not worth my time playing the game.
Defeat.
I'm fine with losing. I'm fine with losing lane and stuff. Sure, that sucks, but I can't fucking enjoy the game when I'm lagging doing fucking everything. So I appreciate you guys stopping by, even though today has been kind of a downer because of all the lag. I do appreciate it regardless. So I'll see you guys some other time. Bye.